Okay, I have a couple of guests, Arlo Pignotti and Vic Farrow. And let's start with Arlo. You had a couple of things to do with space and cosmology.
Well, yeah, there's something recently discovered in the scientific community through radio telescopes. They used a certain wavelength of light or a certain wavelength of radio to find that on nebulas you can see planets forming on 3 solar systems, and it seems quite clear that these are planets. The nebulas, the gaseous dust around the star, is balling up and completely separate from the star and is orbiting it. And that seems really good proof or evidence supporting that there are other planets, and it also shows that they are forming from natural processes. I thought that was worth mentioning. No one's mentioning on TV. All they can talk about is the Clinton scandals, and they think this isn't important enough. So we'll mention it here.
All right, science. Great to talk about it. Atheists really like science. Most of us have a high respect for it, and when it comes to questions about life in general in our universe, we prefer to defer to science instead of religion, and we'll be talking more about science on this show. In fact, Vic Farrow has been reading a book by Carl Sagan. Would you like to tell us about that?
We've decided to add a new segment to our program. We're calling it our little book review, and we haven't titled it yet, but this week I read Carl Sagan, I don't know if you can see this, The Demon Haunted World. If you haven't read this book, you need to get to the store and get it really fast. It's very, very good. It goes into the dispelling of all kinds of different pseudosciences and religious philosophies and stuff like that. It could have been titled The Skeptic's Handbook. It is really just an excellent book. He goes into, where was that list? Excuse my unpreparedness here. 21. Goes into a list of different kinds of pseudosciences, from astrology, which is one of his pet peeves, of course, the Bermuda Triangle, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, ghosts, the evil eye, multicolored halo auras, and the surrounding of the heads of everyone, with personalized color, of course, extrasensory perception such as telepathy, precognition, telekinesis, and remote viewing of distant places. What his contention here is that there's just simply not enough skeptical thinking going on in America, and that perhaps 95% of Americans are scientifically illiterate. They just don't know how to analyze the question and question the junk, literally, that's being thrown at them at all angles, at all times. And so this week our book is Carl Sagan's The Demon Haunted World. And we're going to bring you a book every week from now on, and I'll read them and tell you what I think about them. And that's
great.
My little
book of the week
today.
You have a couple quotes from there, or?
Yeah, I was, like I said, I went ballistic on this book. I couldn't put it down. I spent all of yesterday just poring over it. I
think I had one that was just brilliant.
Yeah, there was. What's that?
I have some quotes from that book in here somewhere.
From this book?
Okay,
Yeah.
help me. The 5 to 10% of the U.S. people who are highly suggestible, who can be just, even though they're smart and average intelligent people, they get suggested, or they take suggestion real well. And the one I gave you just a minute ago is lost to me at this particular moment.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, there's plenty in there. Arlo has one, right? Do you have one?
Oh, well, I'm going to have to find them myself. I mean, some of these quotes aren't quotes by Sagan. He puts other people's quotes in the book.
He did quote
some
a lot
great
of other people.
Like one thing, we don't teach enough skepticism in the schools. It's seen as a bad thing, I guess. And there's a good quote he had in there from Thomas Jefferson, which is, if a nation expects to be both ignorant and free in a state of civilization, it expects what never was and never will be.
Very good.
He went on quite a bit about how being basically ignorant of most of the stuff going on around is, and a lot of people in the United States and in the world around are completely illiterate. They just don't read at all. And this is not conducive to democracy. You can't have a democracy where you're obligated to participate in the democracy and then not know a thing about it, or not be able to know anything about it. He uses the word bamboozled, which is a famous Carl Sagan word. And people get bamboozled every day because they don't apply a little skeptical thinking to what is being told to them. Just question it, and
If I could mention one more thing. Okay, 95% of the common public is scientifically illiterate. Only 1% of politicians actually have, some
Any
sort
science
of
background.
yeah, any science background, or whatever. And only about maybe 2 presidents could have been considered scientifically educated.
Wow.
It's a pretty scary thing, actually, to think that we just so much rampant. I don't want to use the word ignorance because that'll piss people off, but